This is a strut from a BX. As you can see, it's a McPherson strut. But the main difference, obviously, is that it doesn't have a spring or a shock absorber. It looks like it has a shock absorber, but it doesn't. What it actually has is this boot here, which, Ren, 1980, oh that's weird, 1989. There's some bits on that car that reckon they were built in 88. Well, I suppose maybe the different parts were. Anyway, let's not get too sidetracked. I'm going to move you back so you can see. If I remove this gaiter, like so, you can see lots of fluid because I've unplugged everything and it's a Citroen. Yeah, so basically this is the suspension strut. So you can see the top of this in the engine bay in a BX. It's got a rubber cover over it. Most of them have a rubber cover over them. And the sphere sits in a boss. In fact, I'll go and get it. I'll show you. In a BX, the top mount that sits in the suspension turret would be about here. And then what you see under bonnet is that. So the bodywork would be sort of there. That's what you see. So there's a hole in the top of the strut. There, big hole. There. And that's what the fluid fills the strut with. And the fluid comes through this hole here. And then, although there's a hole there, there's a channel all the way around it. And there's a channel with two rubber seals all the way around in there. You can't see them because it's not focusing. But that's how it fills that up. There's a hole on the other side. It goes all the way through. So this fills inside with fluid. At the moment this is down the bottom, but if you pump fluid into it, the fluid will appear inside and lift this up. Thus the suspension rises. That's it. All the springing and damping is done in that. That's just literally that's just a reservoir of fluid by the wheel. This does all the work. The reason I have this out on bench is because the boots that go at the top, there is a boot, as I removed earlier on, which sits over the top like that. And what is quite common on these cars, though it's not an MOT fail or anything, is that you pick up the one that's fine. Right. What can happen is that. Failure. So to that end, a pair of new ones. So that's quite normal. That happens quite a lot. But it's not just that I'm going to have to play around with. That's why I've taken the whole strut out. In fact, if you were just doing these boots normally, you wouldn't take the knuckle off the car. You would just remove the strut from that because it's not actually that hard to do. So I'm going to do that now because this needs to get out of the way. But I'm going to do it on that one because I've already started on that one. It's just you can't see it because lens. This is a strut that has fallen over. So it's leaking. There's going to be fluid in here. Yeah. There's actually a bump stop at the bottom as well. Yeah, so I've got a socket here, so there's a pinch bolt there. That should be square at the end, but it's not. Oh, actually, no, it might not be. Yeah, no, it should be. Was it a later one? Whatever. Yeah, so I'm going to undo that pinch bolt. Now, a lot of cars, when you try doing this, you undo the pinch bolt and then you have a nightmare trying to get the strut out. But on this, normally, they just pop out. So yeah, it doesn't happen every time, but they don't normally tend to rust up because of the fact there is normally 10 ton of oil around them to keep them lubed. Lubed. And of course there's no, like a lot of cars, they have a key that aligns it in the slot. These don't. because it doesn't really matter which way around it goes. The strut is just a cylinder. The only reason you have to get it kind of lined up properly is the return on the back of it. This is like a return which is split on tomato, so that needs replacing. Ugh, see the state of what come out of that. Grim. And there's a little trick I can do to these struts while I've got them out, which I shall do. But yeah, basically, yeah, these return hoses need replacing. These just return fluid back to the reservoir because they are designed to leak a bit, not gushing through. It's not designed to leak tons, but they're, you know, quite often Citroen hydraulics don't have rubber seals. Sometimes it's just a metal interference fit. So I'm hoping, I think Tomato's gonna, oh yes, that's it. You saw that, one take. No having to go smashy smashy in the groovy groovy. So you can see, I mean you can put it back in the right way because you can see where the alignment is, but whoop, Christ. Yeah, so it doesn't matter how often and how many directions you try turning these struts and trying to get all the fluid out, you won't. You will still make a mess. You'll notice I haven't taken the ABS sensor out of the knuckle because it's more likely to break. And these are unobtainium. They are made from unobtainium. They cannot be bought. They cannot be found. The other issue I've got is I think the calipers are like slightly seized. I don't know for sure, but I'm starting to suspect because when I was taking it apart, I felt like they were dragging a little bit on the disc. And I've just done all the brakes. I've just bled the brakes in. Admittedly, mostly the back, but now I think about it more, I think there might be something going on there. So, the main thing I need to do is take this back out of here, because I've got to try and get the ball joint out. Oh, that's not going to be fun. Yeah, so there's the ball joint, but this shield that goes around it is going to have to probably come off in pieces, which is a pain because I haven't got a new one to put on it. I remember all this shenanigans from, yeah, that one. This will probably have to be broken to come off. And then, I mean, I know a fair few cars that don't even run that anymore. Oh, it's rotten through anyway. There is the joint. Now I can see myself having to burn this to get it off. I think it's going to be a case of setting fire to it, but you know, what did I have to do with Cecily? I had to cut it all off, didn't I? Cut it and drill it and grind it, and it was a nightmare. Oh yeah, it's knackered. You think to yourself, well, the ball joint ain't got much play in it. It's because you've got a rubber boot on it. That's got play in it, I can feel it. So you've got this sort of reverse castellated body to the ball joint, and the socket has 4 little grooves and they slot into here, and it should rotate, and I'd simply unscrew from the upright. For a laugh, I'm just going to offer it the chance to come undone. Who knows? No. This could take a while. Ooh, she now hot. What say you? Good girl. Alright, so here's our new ball joint. I'm going to attempt to make life a little bit easier for the next person who works on this, but I don't expect it to make a massive difference, although I have run out of grease, it seems. Take this off for a sec just to tighten it. Remember to tighten the thing, and then the torque setting on it is about that. Decision to be made on calipers. Don't know what to do with those yet, but doesn't matter. For now, I'm going to remove the other one from the other side, which I don't need to film because I've already done this one, and then figure out what to do next, apart from replace it. It's magically a period of time later, which is a period of time that it was much longer than it should have been, because the other ball joint, yeah, that one fought. So this is a strut. This is the strut from the near side, and as you can see, it is not connected to anything at all. Now, one of the problems, this is one of the problems. So this is a strut return hose, and as you can see, it is not looking healthy. Not that you can see, because stupid camera. That's split. This is quite common. Although there are two pipes here, they both go to the same thing. Or both come from the same thing. So what you've got, I'm not sure what bring you in. You've got this metal clip here, and basically you undo the metal clip. You might even be able to reuse the metal clip if you're lucky. Yeah, I might be able to. I'm not entirely sure. It is very, very mucky. So I need to make it slightly less mucky. Bear with. This clip is stainless. If you're careful, they can be reused. Remains to see whether I'm being careful or being impatient, but and all it has is this little clip holding it on, and it's just pushed against. Oh my god, look at all the gunk coming out of there. Disgusting! It's pretty manky in there. I think what it needs is a bit of a flush out with some LHM. Here you can see in the hole there. It's not very good at focusing this, but there's a sort of nylon bush on the piston. All right, so got a bit of magical green. Make sure it is the right stuff. Yes, I have used LHM, not waterless coolant or something. And then all I'm going to do is just push this down a bit. Oh god. Just basically going to clean it out, because what came out of it was horrible. Ah! Oh, it's all still coming out horrible. Oh, look. Not nice. Oh yeah, look at the gunk. Ugh. All the brown. That's getting better. One of the things people do sometimes to try and do this trick while the struts are on the car is to take the two ends of the strut return pipe off where they connect to the car and dump them in sort of a jar of LHM and then make the car go up and down. In theory it works, but in practice it's a bit of a faff because it means you've got to take the wheel off and then balance the wishbone or ball joint or something on a jack or an axle stand or something like that, and then be going up and down this. To be honest, I would just take the strut out. It's not that much harder. And there's no risk of well, less risk of your car falling over. BXs and probably, well, actually no, well, Xantias, they don't have top mounts with bearings in like conventional cars because the strut does the spinning. Oh god, yeah, ugh. This is pretty minging. And now it's loose. Okay, this might take a little bit longer than I thought. I thought this was going to be one quick flush, but it is rough in there. I guess because all the the water and gunk and everything like that will sink to the bottom. Yeah, so there's the hill. So I'm sort of rotating this shaft as I go. Well, that's a bit cleaner. Oh, that's gone brown now. So a lot better than it was. It's still not great, but yeah, it's a lot better than it was. The stuff that was coming out of it before, well, that came out of it before, so I think maybe give it one more go. Yeah, it's improving. Right, yeah, so just basically going to keep chucking some oil in this. This isn't actually going into the piston. The plastic you can see there is like a guide bush. So this is going underneath that. As I say, they do leak back. Yeah, what's left in here will get a bit old and grubby, and then that could in turn have bits break off, contaminate the underside here and damage those bushes. So I just want to flush it all out. There's also a felt washer there, that's gone. So this isn't ever normally full of fluid, that's normally just, oh, there's bubbles. Yeah, normally that's just like residue left over. The piston's actually inside that. But to this here won't come out that end there. It's a separate part. But yeah, all this is doing is just lubing the insides up, the bits that don't normally get lubed, basically. They just get all the dregs. Yeah, I think I'll fill this up and leave it overnight.